Hi everybody, my name is Milorad Borota. I am regulated Canadian immigration consultant. My ICCRC registration number is R408031. This is my website. The address of my website is www.immconsultant.com. In this video presentation we will discuss a very important matter. It has to do with jobs in Canada. We will start with a small quiz. So in your opinion, what would be the single most important factor when it comes to successful immigration to Canada? Is it your wealth or the amount of money you have, your education, your work experience, your age, your language skills, or your marital status? Well, the answer is no, 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 and no. All these are important, but none of them is the most important one. Yes, it is very important to have money. In this case, you have access to federal investor program and also provincial investor programs. Your education is definitely important because you can get some, in the federal skilled worker program, you can get some points for that, as well for work experience, your age, usually between 18 and 35. That's the best age. You can get the most points, or that's the best age according to Canadian immigration to immigrate to Canada. The better your language skills, the better your chance of successful immigration. And also in the province of Quebec, they give some additional points for families who have children. However, none of this is the most important. The most important factor is job in Canada. If you can secure job in Canada, your chances of successful immigration will dramatically go up. So this can be seen as one of the best secrets of Canadian immigration. If you manage to get a job in Canada, your chances of successful immigration or getting permanent resident status are much, much higher than, again, any of these factors that we mentioned before. With even better, you will have even better chance than if you are somebody who has millions of dollars in their bank account. So definitely, job in Canada will help you get permanent resident status in Canada. So why is that? Well, here in this picture you can see that all these immigration programs are basically on top of the fact that you have job in Canada. So if even with a job offer, or if you have a job, you have access to, you can apply in many cases in the federal skilled worker program, Quebec skilled worker or Quebec permanent worker program, Canadian experience class, live-in caregiver programs. It's also available to those temporary foreign workers who are working like as live-in caregivers. And most of all, probably the most important one is our provincial nominee programs. In the next slide we will see some statistics which will give additional information and probably convince you why is job so important. So these are statistics for temporary residents or temporary foreign workers from 2006 until 2011. So I highlighted the top row. So you can see that practically every year from 2006 until 2011, approximately 160 or 70,000 foreign workers come to Canada. So in 2006 it was 138,000, 164,000, 192, 178. So then 182 for 2011 statistics are I'm not sure whether they are complete or not. Probably it was more than 174,000 foreign workers who came to Canada to work. So this trend is very clear. Canada needs temporary foreign workers, and even in 2008, which was a year of the economic crisis, 192,160 foreign workers came to Canada. So if we look a little bit down at another table here, so you can see these are statistics for permanent residents admitted in 2010. So the number of permanent residents who foreign nationals who came to Canada as a permanent residents. So you can see here skilled workers. These are the numbers for skilled workers, and I highlighted these 4 provinces because most of the skilled workers came to Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia. So these are different subcategories of economic class. So as you can see, all these jobs in Canada is basically second name for all these programs. Skilled workers, business immigrants, actually they don't really need a job because they invest or open their business. Provincial nominee class programs are also linked to jobs in Canada. Live-in caregivers, Canadian experience class, for all these, job in Canada is the key. And the bottom charts here these are statistics for provincial nominee programs. So every year since 2004 until 2010, every consecutive year, every year after year, more and more people are coming to Canada in provincial nominee program. It is really hard to expect that this chart will go down. So most likely this trend will continue. And in this table here, this is the immigration plan for 2012 for this year. By the way, this video is recorded in early February of 2012. So all the information I'm presenting here is accurate or relevant at this time. So this is the immigration plan for 2012, and you see a total economic immigrants which will be admitted to Canada is here. It's 157,000, or 61% of all immigrants will come to Canada in this category. And for most of those categories, job in Canada is very, very important. For federal skilled workers, those who have a job offer can get additional points. Canadian experience class, the people who have worked in Canada for at least 2 years or 1 year in case of students. Live-in caregivers are people who work in Canada. Quebec skilled workers, the same thing. They have to work in Quebec, and they have to have a job offer from Quebec. Provincial nominees, big portion of provincial nominees are people who work or will work in Canada. So for all these, job in Canada is very important. So clearly, Canadian job is the key for all these. You may ask, why would Canada need foreign workers if they have unemployed Canadian citizens or permanent residents in Canada? Which is a good question. However, even with unemployment over 7%, Canadians still need foreign workers. Canadian economy is fairly strong, and this is the front page of the Maclean's magazine from January of 2012, last month. And as you can see, Canadian people are very optimistic about their economy and about their future. In the crisis has struck in the US and also in Europe. However, Canadians feel very optimistic about the future of their economy, about the future of their country. So chances are Canada will need foreign workers in many years to come. Let's see how one can apply for work permit. In order to work in Canada, one needs to have a work permit. So let's see how one goes about applying for a work permit in Canada. So for this purpose, I have created one fictional situation here. So this is West Edmonton Mall, which does exist. It's in Edmonton, and it's it's a biggest shopping mall in North America and the 5th largest in the world. So let's say one employer in this mall, in the West Edmonton Mall. Let's call this employer Edmonton Mall Hotel, which by the way doesn't exist. They need to hire a chef. So this is this gentleman here is Canadian employer, and he or she, I guess it's a he, is looking for a chef. So he would like to hire a chef. NOC, National Occupational Classification for chefs, is 6241. So he would like to hire a chef for the hotel, for the restaurant in the hotel, and the employer again is Edmonton Mall Hotel. So we will go through all the steps of hiring a foreign worker. So hopefully by the end of the next couple of slides you will get understanding, some basic understanding how the process works. So I will okay, first, before we go into those details, let's see who can be hired by the Canadian employer. Who are the people that can work in Canada? Obviously, Canadian citizens and permanent residents can work in Canada without really any problems. But besides Canadian citizens and permanent residents, who else can be hired by this hotel or Canadian employer? So people who can work in Canada are temporary foreign workers, and if those foreign workers are holding jobs which are skill level 0A or B, or in some provinces it's also C and D, but for the most part it's 0A and B, also their spouses or common law partners can get open work permit, so they can hire temporary foreign workers and their spouses. They can hire participants in youth exchange programs, for example International Experience Canada, like working holiday program. So they have open work permits, so Canadian employer can hire them as well. They can hire foreign students and their spouses. So foreign students, when they study, they can work part-time, so they can hire them, or when they finish their school, they program, educational program, they can also get open work permit for depends on the duration of their studies. It can be 1-2 years. So they can work, so Canadian employer can hire them as well. Refugee claimants and persons in need of protection, people who come to Canada to seek refuge or protection, they also get open work permits, so Canadian employer can hire them as well. When foreign nationals apply for permanent resident status from within Canada, they can also apply for open work permit, so they are also available to be hired as well. And also temporary resident permit holders with validity of over 6 months can apply for that job. So these are all candidates for the job, for the that job that will be advertised. The chef is wanted at the Edmonton West Edmonton Mall, at the Edmonton Mall Hotel. So these are the people that can potentially become employees. So we will go to the next slide. So in the next in this slide, in 5 steps, I will try to explain how the process of obtaining work permit works. So first step here is Canadian employer is trying to recruit or to hire Canadian chef, somebody who is already in Canada, either Canadian citizen or permanent resident. So they have to advertise, they have to put ads in the newspaper, on the internet, use the job bank to advertise. So that's why I put here minimum advertising requirement. They have to advertise for at least 14 days for all different skill levels, A, 0A, B, C or D. And then there are some variations to that rule depending whether it's 0A, B, or C or D. So it's not the same for everybody. There are even occupations for which there is no advertising requirement at all. However, in most cases they have to look for domestic workers, for Canadian citizens and permanent residents, for at least 2 weeks. They have to interview them, they have to try to hire them. If they are not able to hire anyone, then they can look for workers in other countries. So they have to keep record of advertising effort for a minimum of 2 years. And again, as I said, there are variations to the minimum advertising requirement depending on the occupation. So this is the first step. Canadian employer needs to make an effort, genuine effort, to hire Canadian citizens and permanent residents. In the second step, and let's say the employer was not successful, they couldn't find the chef that they wanted, so they will apply to Service Canada, to Human Resources and Skill Development Canada, for LMO, labor market opinion, for this for the worker, and they even don't know who the worker will be. Sometimes they know, but sometimes they don't know. So it can be, we will see later when we take a look at the LMO how it looks like. So in this case, they will apply for LMO. Processing time is 2 to 3 months at this time. Again, we are speaking about early 2012. There is no fee, so the application is free, and they can apply within 3 months after they advertise the job. So they can't wait 6 months or 1 year and then apply for LMO. It must be right after they advertise the job. So this is the second step. Employer is applying for LMO at Human Resources and Skill Development Canada or Service Canada, and they will issue positive or neutral labor market opinion. In this case, that means this worker who will be coming from another country is not negatively affecting labor market. So it's a positive assessment. It means employer is allowed to hire a foreign worker. In the third step, employer needs to find a foreign worker. So they can use foreign recruitment agencies, or they can put job postings on the internet, or they can hire an immigration consultant, because usually immigration consultants know foreign nationals who are willing to come to Canada to work. Actually, there is plenty of them. So that's the third step. They have to reach overseas. Employer needs to find their employee in another country. So in our example, our employer from the hotel in West Edmonton Mall will hire a Chinese national, Mr. Zhang Li, to be a chef in their hotel. So in this case, when they find that person, let's say a Canadian employer got in touch with Mr. Zhang Li, who is in China. So this LMO that they received, employer received, is good for 6 months. So Canadian employer will send labor market opinion, photocopy of labor market opinion, and also photocopy of job contract to Mr. Zhang Li, who is in China. And so he will, in the next step, he will apply for a work permit. So this is what this step is here. So again, within 6 months, Mr. Zhang Li, the employee, overseas employee, will receive photocopy of labor market opinion and a photocopy of job contract that he will sign with Canadian employer. And then in the last step, step number 5, Mr. Zhang Li, who is the temporary foreign worker, will send his photocopy of his labor market opinion, photocopy of his job contract, and also he will complete work permit application form and send all those to the Canadian visa office in his own country. So he will pay $150 for the application. It will take approximately 2 to 3 months to process. The processing times may vary depending on the country, but it's usually around 3 months. And it's done outside of Canada. This application is made in the country of where that foreign national resides, or his habitual or his country of residence. So when they process this application and when they issue they will issue a letter of authorization or letter of introduction. So they won't issue work permit at this stage. So they will send this letter here. They will send it back to Mr. Zhang Li, and he will take it with him when he comes to Canada. If he requires temporary visitor visa, if temporary resident visa, then he will apply for that as well. It will be done at the same time. So this is basically the process in 5 steps. So it's very important, so we'll go quickly through this again. So Canadian employer is trying to hire a Canadian worker, Canadian citizen or permanent resident, and they're not successful with that. Then they are applying for labor market opinion, no more than 2 to 3 3 months after they advertise the job. So they obtained a positive labor market opinion in this case. Then they will have to recruit foreign workers. So they do that through agencies advertising on the internet or immigration consultants. And then after that they will send labor market opinion, job contract, photocopies of those documents to the foreign worker to their own country, and the temporary foreign worker will apply for work permit in their own country by submitting photocopy of labor market opinion, job contract, and work permit application form to the Canadian Visa Office, and the Canadian Visa Office will issue letter of introduction or letter of authorization, which Mr. Zhang Li will take with him when he comes to Canada. He will show that to the CBSA officers. Okay, let's see how letter of introduction looks like. So this is a letter of introduction, but this one is issued for study permit. So it will give you a sense what this is all about. So this is what it says: your application to study in Canada has been approved. So again, this is for study permit, but letter of authorization for work permit is very similar. So foreign worker would take this letter of authorization with him or with her when they come to Canada. Then a work permit will be issued at the Canadian border. Okay, so now Mr. Zhang Li is at the Canadian border, and these lovely ladies will greet him, and these are Canadian Border Service Agency officers, or CBSA officers. They are their responsibility to admit to Canada only those foreign nationals who they, according to the Canadian laws, who are not inadmissible. So again, they're keeping Canada safe. So Mr. Zhang Li, the foreign worker hired by the West Edmonton Mall, the hotel, will show up at the border with his temporary resident visa and also with his passport. And in his case, he's coming from China, so he needs temporary resident visa as well. Then letter of authorization or introduction, which he got from the Canadian Visa Office in his own country. Then he will bring in photocopy of his labor market opinion, employment contract from his employer, medical certificate, because he will be working in the kitchen, so he will have to have medical certificate, and also, if the work permit is issued for more than 6 months, he would need to have medical certificate as well. So then he may have to have also proof of his job qualifications and any registrations or licenses, but in his case, that may not be necessary. So in any event, he needs to have all these when he shows up at the Canadian border. So the fact that he received letter of authorization doesn't mean he will be admitted to Canada. Canadian Border Services Agency officers have the authority to prevent him from entering the country. So if they are satisfied everything is fine, they will put a stamp in his passport and indicate when he entered Canada, and also they will issue work permit to the temporary foreign worker. So work permit so these are situations when somebody can apply for work permit at the port of entry. There are situations when somebody can apply at the port of entry, and these are situations when foreign nationals must apply for a work permit outside Canada. So people who have to apply at their own country are all those who need temporary resident visa, all persons who require medical examination, those foreign nationals who are coming to work in Canada in youth exchange programs, for example, working holiday, seasonal agricultural workers and live-in caregivers. All these must apply for work permit outside of Canada. These are people or foreign nationals who can apply for work permit at the port of entry, at the border. So all nationals or permanent residents of the United States, Greenland, and Saint Pierre and Miquelon, persons who are already approved, who don't require labor market opinion or temporary resident visa, they can apply on the border, and also persons who require LMO and they've been issued positive labor market opinion before they came to the border, to Canada, and persons whose work permit has been approved but not issued yet. So, and there is a group of people who can apply for a work permit within Canada. So these are people who are foreign nationals who already work or study in Canada. So if you get your first work permit in your own country, you come to Canada, you work, you can extend or apply for the second work permit. You don't have to go back, you can apply in Canada. Then successful graduates from some Canadian colleges or universities, when foreign students finish their program, they can apply for work permit from within Canada. Then there are people who are currently working in Canada and they are doing jobs who don't require work permit. So now they want to apply for another job which requires work permit, so they can apply from within Canada. Holders of temporary resident permits can apply also from within Canada. Refugee claimants, applicants for permanent resident status within Canada. Then persons whose work permits are authorized by visa office abroad. Permit was not issued at the port of entry, so they can apply from within Canada. And then also Mexican citizens and US citizens because of the NAFTA trade agreement. Those are foreign nationals who can apply for work permit within Canada. So, there are some jobs that don't require work permit at all. So these are the jobs or occupations that don't require work permit. So foreign nationals coming to Canada to work in these occupations don't need work permit at all. So you can pause your video and read them carefully. Then there are situations or there are occupations where foreign nationals require work permit, but they don't need labor market opinion. So these are the jobs or occupations in Canada that require work permit. You still have to have work permit, but you don't have to apply for labor market opinion first. So these are, it's important to know which ones are those, because again, in this case, you don't need work permit or you don't need LMO for them. So it makes it easier if you are coming to Canada to work in one of those occupations. And now we can move to see how work permit looks like. So this is a fake work permit. Mr. Zhang Li is actually not a real person. I created that person. So even though this work permit looks very real, all the information in these documents and also in labor market opinion are not real. They're fake. So as you can see, Mr. Zhang Li is 12 years old. So definitely I don't think anyone would hire him to work in West Edmonton Mall if he's 12 years of age. So anyways, this is the top part of the work permit and this is the bottom part. So we'll just quickly scan over the top part. So this top left corner is very important because there are two types of work permits. One kind of work permit is called open work permit, which doesn't have doesn't have any restrictions. Actually, it can have restrictions, but it doesn't have many restrictions. So in this case, this is employer a specific work permit. So this is not open work permit. Even open work permits can have limit on time, occupation, or location of employment, and only those work permits that don't require LMO can be open work permits. So this one definitely needed LMO, so this is not open work permit. So this is Mr. Zhang Li's passport number. His employer is clearly indicated. It's West Edmonton Mall, and then it's Edmonton Mall Hotel. Occupation, this is the occupation he can work in. It's chef. It's the location of his employer is located in Edmonton, and these are conditions. So there are several conditions listed here. These are the personal information of this fictitious person called Zhang Li, his birthday, full name, a client ID number, and then this is the validity period of his work permit from January of 2011 until January of 2012. Extension number. So okay, so we have to notice something here. This Mr. Zhang Li, this is not his first work permit. He already extended his work permit 2 times, and also you can see that this is not his first work permit, because this work permit was issued in Vergeville in Alberta. So it's Case Processing Center in Vergeville. So definitely this is not his first work permit. Also, this part here can be confusing. It says this does not authorize re-entry. This only means that temporary foreign worker cannot use his work permit to come back to Canada if they need temporary resident visa. So their work permit alone won't be enough to allow them to return to Canada. Yes, they can go back home, they can return, but if they need temporary resident visa, they will still have to apply for one. That's why they put here, this does not authorize re-entry. Or maybe it should be, this alone does not authorize re-entry. And then here is Mr. Zhang Li's address in Edmonton, because again, this is the second time that he's renewing his work permit. So this is how work permit looks like. All the restrictions and employer information is in the top left corner. Foreign workers information is here. And then there is a address and then few other remarks here at the bottom. So this is how work permit looks like. We move on to, this is a labor market opinion. So basically the foreign employer had to apply for this first. So it has 3 pages, page 1 of 3, and on the first page you can see that this the Service Canada or the federal government is notifying the employer, which is John Smith, another fake name. So John Smith is notified, and some information is provided about temporary foreign worker program, and with the link and all of that. So this is the first page. Second page I skipped, and then we will go straight to the third page, which is so-called annex, and this is the most important part for the foreign worker, because here is indicated employer information, when this labor market opinion expires, which is 6 months from the date it was issued, employers' contact information, and then workers' contact information. So Mr. Zhang Li's information, what NOC code he's hired for. So it's for chefs. There is only one position. What education is required for that position? What language requirements are included with this LMO? This profession is not, this occupation is not regulated. The duration of employment, so his employer offered him a 12 months job. This is his wage and also other benefits, how many hours he worked. So basically this is how labor market opinion, LMO, positive LMO looks like. Let's take a look at some statistics. I'm not sure whether you like statistics, but I personally like them. So these are some statistics for labor market opinions issued and approved from 2007 until 2010 by skill type. So from this table you can see in which occupations most labor market opinions are issued. So what are those, what kinds of jobs are available in Canada basically? So you can see here sales and service occupations. There is a 48,000 LMOs issued for this type of work. So these would be salespeople, salespersons, and also for example hotel workers and occupations like that. What is a little bit surprising to me is that 16,000 positive LMOs was issued in occupations in art, culture, recreation, and sport, and then 15,000, which is not very surprising, in trades, transport, equipment operators, and related occupations. So again, others have there are some LMOs issued for other occupations as well, but these 3 are the most interesting ones. So it's basically sales and service occupations, trades, and occupations in art, culture, and recreation and sport. So I'm not quite sure what to make of it, but one may say probably if a person is looking for work in Canada, probably these would be jobs to look for, because it looks to me that employers are constantly, year after year, applying for LMO for those jobs. And then we can also look at the skill level. What is the skill level that is required in Canada? So again, these are statistics for 3 provinces: Alberta, Ontario, and British Columbia, because they bring most of the foreign workers. So in Alberta is in need of skill level B, and they issued, or they applied and got 16,000 positive LMOs in 2010, 14,000 for D level, which is seasonal work, and then 10,000 for C. So basically they need seasonal workers and skilled and technical workers in the same degree. And then in Ontario they need mostly seasonal workers, so that was 12,000 positive LMOs was issued in C skill level. And British Columbia is more or less the same thing. These are C skill level, 7,000 positive LMOs issued. Okay, so we will quickly move on to see what is the difference between labor market opinion and arranged employment opinion. So here in this table you can see these are often confused, but again, there is a big difference between them. So I'll try quickly to explain what the difference is, but since I don't want this video to be 1 hour long, I will probably skip something, so you can just pause your video and read it yourself. So what are the differences? First is the main difference, I would say, is between LMO and the arranged employment opinion is that LMO leads to work permit. So your employer is applying for LMO because you as a foreign worker needs work permit. When you get arranged employment opinion, you are applying for permanent resident status. So that's, I would say, that's the main difference. One leads to permanent resident status, another one leads to the temporary foreign worker status. Then the skill level is also another difference. LMOs can be issued and have been issued for any skill level. Arranged employment opinions are issued for NOC occupations 0, A and B. Why? Because those are the occupations that a federal skilled worker program requires. So there is no point of issuing arranged employment opinion for skill level C or D, because with those you can't apply in the federal skilled worker program. Jobs offered, again, any jobs can be offered to temporary foreign worker, and they can apply for LMO. However, only permanent full-time and non-seasonal job offers are considered in the if somebody is applying in for arranged employment opinion. So only permanent full-time and non-seasonal offers. There is a huge difference also in advertising requirement. So these are the factors that Human Resources and Skills Development Canada is assessing. So in case of labor market opinion, they are assessing occupation, wage, labor market benefits, etc. So I marked this one in red because they also assess employers' advertisement and recruitment efforts. In this case, in case of arranged employment opinion, they don't. Mostly they focus on occupation, wages and working conditions, whether this offer is genuine or not, if the offer is permanent, full-time and non-seasonal. LMO, when HRSDC assesses LMOs, they more or less do the same thing. Plus, they also look into advertising effort. And then the processing time is also different. It takes approximately 3 months to get LMO and approximately 6 months to get arranged employment opinion. And then again with LMO, you will most likely get your work permit, and then you can work in Canada. If you get arranged employment opinion, you can't really come to Canada with that paper and work. You will have to apply for permanent resident status. Once you have your permanent resident status, you don't need work permit, you can work. But AEO alone won't really authorize you to work in Canada. Okay, so then we will move to the next slide. Very frequently asked questions that clients or inquirers are sending to me is, can my consultant find a job for me? Well, the answer to that question is no and yes. So I'll explain why is it no, why consultants, immigration consultants or any other immigration professionals cannot look for work for foreign nationals, and also why is it the answer is yes. So first let's go to no. In the province where I live, in the province of British Columbia, it is illegal to charge job seekers for helping them to find work. So basically the law prevents anyone from charging job seekers, people who seek employment, from charging them money for the job search services. So in other words, your immigration consultant would be in the position to search for work or help you find work for free, because he wouldn't be allowed to ask for compensation, because that would be illegal. So that's why the answer is no. No, your immigration consultant probably won't look for work for you because he won't be paid for it. Job search can be very time consuming, very intense, and sometimes again, job search can last for months without any guarantee of success, and at the same time he or she would not be able to charge a penny for that. So that's why immigration consultants or other immigration professionals don't look for work for their clients. There are specialized job search agencies, and they may be able to help you, but again, your immigration consultant chances are they won't really help you with a job search. The answer is yes in my particular case, because you as a foreign worker will be able to go to our company website www.mbmigration.ca and register as a foreign worker. You can register your just basic information, your name, something about your education, basic information about your education, work experience, language skills, and then if employers contact me, I will be able to contact you, and then we can make arrangements. But again, I would not charge you for that service. I would charge the employer, a company of a Canadian employer looking for foreign employees. So this will be available sometime in the summer of this year, of the year 2012. Right now, this is not available. So basically, again, you as a foreign workers, you would go to the website mbmigration.ca or live-in-caregiver.com. You will register. There will be a database at both those websites, and then when Canadian employers contact me, I would look up information in the database and see if I can find anyone who may fit their needs. So that's why the answer is yes. Yes, it is possible, but not in the meaning of direct job search for the foreign workers. It's actually you would put your name in the database, and then if Canadian employers contact me, I may be able to link you, the foreign workers, and the Canadian employers. And we are pretty close to the end of this presentation, so now we will just review a couple of typical questions that you might have. First question. I have an employer-specific work permit valid for 2 years. After 6 months, I lost my job. Do I have to leave Canada? The answer is no, you don't have to. If you have a work permit which is valid for 2 years, you are allowed to stay in Canada for 2 years. So the only thing is you are not allowed to work without proper authorization, without a new work permit. But you can stay there. You're not breaking any laws if you're just simply staying in Canada. Let's say you have big savings, you're just spending your money, maybe looking for another employer or whatever that might be, but you're not breaking any laws. You can stay in Canada for 2 years if you have valid work permit for 2 years. So also another important thing is when you come to Canada as a temporary foreign worker, your employer cannot kick you out of the country. Sometimes bad employers, they say, oh, if you don't do this or that, they will send you back to your home country. They can't do that. As long as you have your work permit, you're allowed to stay in Canada for the validity period of your work permit. Second question, can I find another employer in Canada and work for them without applying for a new work permit? No, you can't. You have to, if you have a new work permit and you already have employer-specific work permit to begin with, you have to apply for another work permit. This occupation may not require LMO, or in most cases it does require LMO, but definitely you cannot work for another employer because the work permit that you have is employer-specific, so you have to apply for another work permit. Can I renew my work permit in Canada, or I have to apply outside of Canada, like when I first applied? You definitely can apply within Canada. So if you have a work permit and you want to renew your work permit, you can do that. You don't have to go anywhere. You can apply for renewal from within Canada. Question number 4. I have an employer-specific work permit valid for 2 years. However, I am not happy with my employer. Can I work for another employer because the type of work will be the same? The answer is no. You have to apply for another work permit, or probably LMO and then work permit. Even though the type of work is the same, your work permit is employer specific, which means it's good only for the employer that's been issued for. Question number 5. My work permit expired 2 months ago. Can I stay in Canada for another 6 months as a tourist, since I'm in Canada anyways? No, definitely you can't. If your work permit has expired, you have to leave Canada. You can't stay longer in Canada. So you can go back and then you can maybe return if you don't require temporary resident visa. If you do require temporary resident visa, you have to apply for one, or you can apply for study permit or for work permit, but definitely you can't stay. 6 months authorization is something that you would get when you first enter Canada. You can't use it after your work permit expired. Question number 6. I have an employer-specific work permit. Can my wife, who is in Canada with me, get a work permit too? Yes. If you are working in an occupation which is skill level 0A or B, and in several provinces it's also C and D, your wife or your spouse or common law partner can apply for open work permit. The answer is yes. I have a work permit valid for 2 years. Can I go back to my home country for 1 month and then return back to Canada and continue working? Yes, you can do that. The only thing is, if you require temporary resident visa to come to Canada, you will have to apply for one. Of course, at the border, you will explain to the CBSA officer what happened, and they will definitely check whether you need temporary resident visa or not. But you can go, you can return, and then you can continue working. So this is these are frequently asked questions. If you have any other questions that you wish to ask that have to do with this topic or any other immigration topic, please send us an email at contact@mbmigration.ca, or you can ask some of your questions at this website, www.workincanada.org. There is a small dash here and here before and after in. So again, it's www.workincanada.org, and I will answer those questions at that website. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you for watching.